Destiny again. I run the social media here at Noah's. Today, to start out our live training session, I'm going to show you a few of the things that I've been working on with my dog Champ. He knows quite a few tricks, but his attention span is of a toddler, so hopefully this goes well. We do want to apologize about the training video on Monday. We're going to resume today with Jenna going over Leave It and teaching your dog how to weave. It's super great stuff. It's going to be awesome, so stay tuned. Alrighty, and this is Champ, and he's going to do high five. High five. High five. Thank you, good boy. Come here. Okay, big treat. We got to let him finish. Okay, can you spin? Spin. Spin. Can you go the other way? Come here. Other way. Spin. Spin. We haven't done other way yet. We're still working on spin, but he's pretty great about it. He likes to jump and twirl, kind of. Alrighty, and then Jenna will be right in with Floki going over Leave It and Weave.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. Again, we apologize for Monday. Round of applause for Champ over here. They've been working on that a lot. Great job, guys. So like Destiny said, today we're going to go over Leave It. But just real quick, I wanted to kind of recap what we went over last week in case you guys missed some things from last week. So last Monday, we went over how to greet people properly. So if your dog had any issues with jumping on people or running up to people and knocking your kids over, definitely go and watch that. There's some tricks with that. And then Wednesday, we went over down, teaching your dog how to lay down. And then Friday, we went over place, which is one of my all-time favorites. And then last week we taught high five, which is what Champ just demonstrated. So again, just a reminder, let's keep those videos coming. Eventually we're going to announce who's winning those free 30-minute sessions with me. So let's keep those coming, keep practicing tricks, and remember, all of this is great for your kids to be working on with your dogs, getting them interactive. It's great bonding with your dog for all of you, but especially kids, because then your dog will take your kids more seriously, when they ask them to do something. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to get started on here is Leave It. So the purpose of Leave It is when I ask him to leave something, he's never allowed to have it. So it's a permanent command. So Leave It you would use, for example, like distractions if you're out walking. So if you have a reactive dog, Leave It could be really helpful. Or if you just have a hard time getting your dog's focus while you're training, you can use Leave It. If you're out walking, I know typical things that dogs like is like worms or dead frogs on the sidewalk, telling him to leave that. Or it could even be like a life or death situation if you're in the kitchen and you drop medication, saying, leave it, and having your dog back off and leave that could save you a bill to the vet trying to get them to throw out medication. So Leave It is also really great for that as well. And like I said, along is, with distractions as well. So there's a few different ways you can practice Leave It. One, most dogs like to try and take things out of your hand. So practicing leaving items out of your hand is a great way to practice Leave It. And then also practicing Leave It, setting things down on the floor. And then on place is a great little way to start adding little distractions to place, having them leave things around them while they're staying on their place. So the first thing we're going to do is just out of the hand. So basically, every time I open up my hand, I'm going to say Leave It. If he goes for it, I'm going to close it, give his negative cue, letting him know that's not what I wanted if he tries to go for it, which for him is and then I'm going to reopen it and say Leave It again. So basically, every time you reopen your hand, you're going to remind him to leave it and wait for them to back off. And then the other key with Leave It is making sure that they look at you, because when they look at you, they're for sure going to leave it. So you will need both hands. I'm going to have the Leave It treat in one hand, and then I'll have rewards in the other hand. So in the beginning, you're actually going to be luring them yourself to look at you to teach them that that's what you want. So when you say Leave It in the future, they're either to back off and look at you and leave it alone, or some dogs will actually just walk away from it. So every dog responds a little differently. Keep in mind, Floki does already know this, so it's it's going to look a little different when you first start off doing this with your dog, so be patient. Every dog responds a little different as well. So I'm going to hold my hand out, say Leave It, And again, if he were to go for it, I would close it, and then reopen it again and wait for him to back off. It will be normal for your dog to kind of lick your hand trying to get to it at first. That's okay. Just again, lure them away, get them to look at you, and then say, okay, take it. So I'm gonna open it, leave it, lure him to look at me, then say, okay, take it. So you'll be doing this luring process, okay, take it, the first few times, and then eventually at just a random point, if you feel like they're starting to kind of catch on, just kind of wait for them to back off. And it's okay if they're kind of sniffing your hand at first or licking your hand. Just be patient, wait a few seconds and see if they'll choose to back off themselves. Because if we get in the habit too much of luring them every single time, they're just only going to expect to have to leave it if we're there to lure them away from it, which is not the concept. We want them to choose themselves to leave it. So again, I'm going to put my hand out, leave it. Good. Wait for him to look at me, and then I'll say, okay, take it. And I recommend, dogs are smart, they're probably going to know you have treats in your other hand. So I recommend keeping this hand behind your back so that they don't go for your hand the whole time. Leave it. So he went for it, so I said, close my hand, waited for him to back off. Leave it, reopen it, recommand, leave it. Leave it. I'm gonna wait for him to look at me. Good, then I'll say, okay, take it. Perfect. Then another way you can practice is on the floor. So I'm gonna set a couple treats on the floor, cover my hand and say, leave it, leave it. Then lure him to look at me. Good. Take it. Good. Leave it. Good. Take it. Then what you can do is just simply set it down. Say leave it as you set it down. Leave it. Swipe your hand over it and see if they try to go for it. Now for this exercise, I recommend using whatever hand you're quickest with, because if he goes for it, I'm going to have to recover it real quick. Leave it. So I'm going to wait for him to decide to leave it and look at me. And you can kind of make, leave it. You can kind of make like kissy noises or anything to perk up to get him to look at you, distract him away from it. Look, you leave it. Good, there we go, take it. Then, kind of the more advanced version of this, once they're leaving it with your hand off, start moving it around. Just every time you move it to a different position, because again, dogs are very situational, just remind them to leave it, because in their mind, it's a whole new setup. Leave it. Leave it. He just sighed really big. He's like, this isn't fun. Good. Leave it. Good. Take it. Good. Then, movement is what really gets dogs a lot. So then the next challenging thing is to kind of toss it. So as I say leave it, I'm going to toss it across in front of him. Leave it. Leave it. Good. There you go. Take it. Do it one more time. Leave it. Good. Take it. So sometimes if they're kind of in between looking at you in the treat, if they're almost fully focused on you, you can just kind of make a noise and get them to look at you or lure them the rest of the way. Couple way. Okay. Then another way you can do it is on the place. Destiny, would you please mind me handing the platform? Thank you, ma'am. All right. So put your dog on their place. So then kind of another way, more advanced way, and an easy way to start adding small distractions to your dog's place is to kind of just toss treats around them. And two, once your dog does know leave it, you can start incorporating real items in the house, like whether it's socks, underwear, shoes, tossing it in front of them, telling them to leave it. So start incorporating real items in the house that they normally would try to take. So real situations. So, but as I toss the treat, I'm going to say leave it. And make sure he leaves it. Good. And I'll say take it. Toss some more. Leave it. Good. So he's trained to a prong collar, so he's familiar with a pop as a correction for doing something I don't want him to do. So he almost got that treat on the floor, so that's why I popped his collar. Leave it. Again, I'm going to wait for him to decide. Good. Yes, take it. And really emphasize the take it part so your dogs know when they can actually have it. Because some dogs will get confused at first when you're first teaching it to them. Okay, then the real trick is I'm going to release him and have him come to me through these treats and see if he leaves them. So while doing this, if your dog does, just be really prepared to give a pop on the leash, just say, leave it, or no, leave it, and then just keep calling them to you until they actually get to them. And if they do leave it, make it a really big deal. Leave it. Okay, come. Yeah, good boy. Good. Okay, so that is leave it. Please, in comments or messages, let us know if you guys have any questions about that. There's a lot of steps to that, so I know it can be a little confusing sometimes. But that is going to be a very helpful one for you guys, like I said, for distractions or any items that drop on the floor or anything like that. So then the next thing we're going to go over today is weave. So kind of the trick challenge for the week is weaving, which can be a really fun one. Yes, weaving is an agility. But this kind of weaving I'm talking about is just kind of a fun trick, having your dog weave between your legs. So, okay. I'm going to move this real quick. And it's usually easier to have them off leash on this so that their leash doesn't get tangled up between your legs. So definitely when you teach this at first, definitely be inside where your dog can't run off. Looky. Good. So how you're going to start off is have treats in both hands because you're going to lure with both and reward with both. So first you're just going to stand in the same spot. I'm going to tease him with my treat behind me between my legs. And then once he wraps around my leg, I'm going to say weave. Mark that and reward. Weave. Good. And then I'm going to do it on the other side. Weave. Good. Weave. Good. And you can also kind of like lure with your finger too while they're sniffing your treat. Weave. Good. And then what you can do is have them do a couple before you reward them. So what I would do, have this hand and then automatically have your other hand behind you so you can catch them the minute they wrap around and keep leading them and following them through between your legs. Weave. Good. Weave. Weave. Oh, good boy. Let's do it again. Ready? Let's go. Weave. Weave. Good. So then, once they've got that down pretty well and you can have them weave a few times in a row, you can start doing it in motion. So doing it in motion with your legs. So what that looks like, let's see. Ready? Weave. Good. Weave. Yes. Weave. Yes. Good boy. Good. We'll do that one more time. Weave. Weave. Oh, can't miss a treat, of course. Start over again. Weave. Yes. Weave. Yes. Weave. Yes. Weave. Yes. Good boy. Good. Good. All right, guys, that's it for today. Please post your trick videos. We love seeing that. And again, if you guys have any questions about anything we've gone over, or struggling with any behaviors or anything, please message us or comment us. And we will try to discuss and answer some of those questions on Friday. Have a good day.